Hello everyone! Welcome to this game! Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Dragon Llewellyn Fuzzbottom Jr., and I am a raccoon dragon, as far as you know. Well, normally I'm a raccoon dragon, but that's going to be changing here in a little bit. In fact, give me a moment here. There we go. That should make things interesting. You see, all those characters over there on the right, well, except for the pig, and also the scary face up top, the other ones, besides those two, they're gonna be me, because this game here is a Metroid-style adventure game with a big focus on transformation, and I loves me some transformation. Now, this game is a remake of a game that released in 1989 for the Sega Master System, which was the rival system for the NES. Now, I discovered this game when I played the TurboGrafx 16 port, which was called Dragon's Curse. I found it on the Wii's Virtual Console. With that in mind, yes, I am familiar with this game, so this will not be a blind playthrough. Instead, this will be a 100% playthrough. So let's get it started here. I'm going to be playing on normal mode. I would play on hard mode, except you have a time limit that slowly drains your health. You're effectively poisoned the whole game. So screw that noise. So we have a choice of gender here. That's actually new to this remake. So we could be the regular boy, the classic adventurer. He traded his skateboard for a sword and shield. He has been roaming Monsterland searching for the Mega Dragon. Impeccable haircut. Don't protagonists always? Or we could be the girl. She came for a piece of the action and she means business. She has been roaming, etc., etc. Same stuff as the boy otherwise. So we'll be the girl because I can. Before you is the Monsterland. Overcoming various hardships, you have at last entered the monster's castle. Your target is the dreaded Dragon's Room. But unbeknownst to you is the fact that the dragon has the power to cast curses on his enemies. And here we are in the last dungeon. Already. So here's the interesting thing about this game. This is a sequel to a game called Wonder Boy in Monsterland, and we are, in fact, in the final dungeon of that game, albeit a shorter version of it. And we are currently on our way to fight the final boss. We currently have maximum health, and let's see here. We're at maximum attack power, maximum defense, and even though we don't have any magic on hand, we do have legendary equipment. So we are well prepared to take on the final boss. Now the thing about this particular dungeon is, even though it's shorter than the actual final dungeon, it is a bit of a maze. If you take the wrong path, you wind up looping through the castle. So that was an example of a loop right there. Now I'm just going to go ahead and move right on to the correct path. It should be noted, by the way, that because I am of such high equipment, these enemies can barely damage me. In fact, look up there to my health, and you'll see that it's barely going down as I'm touching these guys. So they definitely did not want you to have trouble fighting the final boss at the start of the game. With that in mind, here's the final boss. Now, I have not actually played the original Wonder Boy in Monsterland, so I don't know what the final battle is really like, but I assume it's probably pretty difficult. In this case, though, yeah, this is easy. In fact, I can kind of get in a couple of attacks there if I want to, and if I do take damage, doesn't matter. In fact, one nice thing about this game is your invincibility frames are very forgiving. If you wind up taking damage like this, you can wind up getting juggled around, but until your invincibility frames ends, you will not take damage. So that is pretty good, especially when stuff like that happens. Alright, defeated the final boss. Now I'm going to want to try to collect as many of these coins as possible while avoiding that flame, because if that flame touches me, I'm immediately kicked out of the room. And just about. Okay, so now I can let this thing touch me, and before you have a chance to figure out, okay, what the heck is just now happening, suddenly, monster, quick attack it! And that is when you realize you can breathe fire. Okay, never mind the fact that you just been turned into some sort of lizard thing. That is cool enough on its own, but the fact that your default attack is a flame breath, that is freaking awesome and a great hook. Like, this isn't some magic spell that you can only use some amount of times. It's not even a power-up that you have a limited amount of time to use. This is your default ability, and you can use it all you want. Now, unfortunately, because of this transformation, I am no longer at max health. I only have 1 heart left. The good news is, I still, at the moment, have my legendary equipment. At least for the moment. As soon as we're done with this escape sequence, it's gonna go away. I guess because we wind up figuring, hey, where's a lizard thing? We don't need clothes anymore and we got fire breath. Might as well toss this legendary equipment away. Also a good thing that we are still equipped with the best stuff, because these things are kind of hard to dodge. Speaking of which, I want to try something here. Nope, couldn't happen. So, during a test recording, I was a little bit patient and tried to find my way up these stairs before they stopped falling, and what happened is I wound up getting myself glitched through the wall, which was certainly interesting and thankfully not game-breaking, because it wound up taking me to the next room anyway. So that was an interesting glitch I found. Glad I got it on camera. Anyway, let us proceed onward out of the castle that is crumbling around us, because after all, final bosses are load-bearing bosses. There were some skeletons along the way. It should also be noted, by the way, if I were playing on the hardest difficulty, not only would I have a time limit, but the monsters would be even stronger. And escape complete. And now, proceed with your adventurous undertaking. I think it's a nice touch that if you play as the girl character, the game is called Wonder Girl. And now we've arrived at the village. This place is basically going to be the hub area for the game. We can go in multiple directions. Well, that is, if we had the abilities needed to go in multiple directions. For the time being, we're kinda stuck in which way we are able to go. But we do have a couple of options. First things first, we're gonna head into this, where we get a fortune told of some sort. Wow, with a face like yours, I'd be looking for an antidote right now. Rude. Also, if I hold X... Let's see, I've been handing out those ancestral codes for decades now. Write them down carefully. So here's the thing about this game. This remake has an autosave function, but the original game used a password system, and you can actually use your old passwords if you wanted to continue your quest in this version 30 years later. That is actually pretty cool. And then here, we'll skip that for the moment. Oops. So, on my way out of the final dungeon, I kind of picked up a fire spell, and I just now accidentally used it when I tried jumping. Try not to mix up your buttons. Anyway, I'm gonna hop on down here, and we're gonna find our first treasure. And we get a heart point. So now we have 2 hearts. I'm also gonna hop up here to a secret door. In here we can have a shop where we find a variety of magic spells. They're kind of expensive though, so I'm just going to ignore them for the time being. By the way, this game has a bunch of secret doors like that, so try to keep an eye out for them. Lastly, we're going to go over to the weapons shop. So, even though we can't really use a sword to attack, We can still buy a sword to boost the power of our flame breath. Not entirely sure how that works, but it does. The best sword you can afford. Okay, maybe not the best. Let's see, mithril shield makes a nice cling sound. Yeah, I'll go ahead and buy that. I'm sure it will last. Ooh, and we can even afford the mithril armor. Reduces damage, looks flamboyant. Now before I exit this shop, I want to bring up something particularly interesting. And that is this. This game, this remake, you can toggle the original game's graphics at any time. That is actually pretty cool. So now we are out here with the original graphics. The dragon is not quite as cute whenever we're in 8 bits. We could also trigger 8-bit music by clicking the right thumbstick. And also get retro sound effects. This is a really cool addition, but I'm probably just going to stick with the modern graphics because these hand-drawn graphics are just awesome. By the way, I am streaming this at Twitch right now at the time of this recording, so allow me to say hello to IceFighter5080 there in the chat. Welcome to my stream. This is going to be a fun game. So let's go ahead and move onward now. Now, like I said, this is a Metroid-style adventure game, so there's going to be places that are kind of inaccessible for the time being. So gotta ignore them for now, but keep them in mind. And from here, we reach the beach. This right here is a shortcut back to the village, so don't worry about that. Let's just start making our way forward. Thankfully, even though we no longer have our legendary equipment, we are well equipped to handle these early level enemies. They don't really do a whole lot. Kind of just walk around, except for the snakes. They kind of just sit there and take it. And from here, I could just go ahead and make my way further across the platforms, but instead, I think I'm just going to hop on down here. So here's an interesting thing about this game. There are no bottomless pits. So if you find a pit, go ahead and hop on down because it probably actually leads somewhere. In fact, we got some treasure we can find right in here. Some money, always good to have, along with a few spells. Some really good spells. Let's see, can we get some information? Okay, it's a little confusing to me that you can pause with the plus button, but in order to access your stuff, you press the X button. So let's see here. Now we got one of each spell. I'll use them along the way when they are particularly helpful because these things are a bit of a commodity, but yeah, we got one of each now, and they are useful under certain circumstances. For now, though, we'll just ignore them and move on forward. Unfortunately, lizardmen cannot swim, so I'm kind of going to have to hop along underwater and try to find a way back up. Actually, let me back up for a second. Okay, never mind, I can't back up for a second. There was something I wanted to show off, but I already passed it up. Oh well. There was a neat little secret that I can't really access yet, but I wanted to point it out for future reference. Oh well. Making it back up on land. Try not to step into the crab recolors. By the way, I just love that when you duck as a lizard man, you curl into your tail. What does that look like in the original graphics? About the same. Okay, I'm going to cycle through my equipment. I'm going to want the arrow for a moment coming up. Because there's a sky enemy that will be kind of annoying if I don't deal with it. Ooh, another arrow. I will probably need it. Okay, there he is. Got him. Took both my arrows, but I got him. And we've reached the end of the beach right here. So what do we have inside this shack? We got another shop. Goblin mail. Cosplay as a goblin, no questions asked. Well, had I not bought that previous armor, I probably could have afforded this. But since this is a 100% run, I'm buying all the equipment anyway. Oh well, I'll have to come back for this later. Or will I? No, yeah. This is not going to have money, it's going to have a key. Which we will need in order to make some more forward progression. So that's all we can get here for the time being. Now we'll go ahead and start making our way back. Unfortunately, I no longer have arrows, but maybe this lightning bolt will be of use. Let's try it out. Yep. Lightning bolt zaps everything on screen. Very handy, but also very rare. And there's another arrow. Definitely will want to keep a stock of those on hand. Another tornado, which is going to be coming in handy right here, because the tornado rides along the ground and this guy is annoying to get past. And that gets rid of him. So, just so that I don't have to do any backtracking, I will avoid falling into the water. Well, this gives me an opportunity to point out the little secret now. So, it's actually on screen right now. You can't really see it because the foreground is in the way, but if we go back to retro graphics, we will see a couple of tiles here that are awfully suspicious. Again, though, we can't really do anything about that right now. Okay, well, let me make my way back to that door over here. Oops. And hello, Maddie Ratata, welcome to my stream. I am not terribly far into the game yet, so you are relatively on time. It's a good thing I got another tornado. And you know what? Here's what I'm going to do with this guy. I got 11 of fireballs, so fireball. Their distance is a little bit limited. And that is how you make smart use of the tornado. And thankfully the snakes just sit there. Ugh. You know, I am definitely thankful, by the way, that your hearts are not individual hit points, but instead, your health is sort of drained away from each heart. Something like that. Okay, I already bought all the equipment there, so let's go ahead and unlock this door and make some more forward progression. Is there anything here right now? No, that doesn't get unlocked until later. And there's another wall over there that is suspicious, but we can't do anything with it right now, so onward to, give it a moment, the desert. So according to this arrow, our next destination is that way, but I'm actually going to go this way. We're going to do a little bit of sequence breaking, and hold on a sec. Let's do this the easy way, instead of manually scrolling through my stuff. Aw, and you got me anyway. So, like I said, we're going to be doing a little bit of sequence breaking here. It's not a thing you can do very often. In fact, off the top of my head, this is one of maybe 2 times in the game that you can do sequence breaking. The enemies here are particularly strong. Do not get hit by them because they hit like a truck. Thank goodness we got flame breath. We can keep our distance here. They also take a whole lot of hits. We are definitely here sooner than we need to be. Also glad that enemies drop health. And from here, that looks dangerous, but nice thing about being a lizard man is you are immune to lava. Oops. But you're not immune to fireballs. You know, all things considered, our adventure is the purpose is to find a way to change back to human, but honestly, I don't see much drawbacks to being a lizard man. I mean, don't have to wear any clothes. You got fire breath, you're cool looking. You can survive in lava. I mean, the only real drawback is that a pig called us ugly. Okay, definitely want to use Tornado, so that we can hop on down here, get rid of you. There is a pretty nice prize if we are able to make it to the destination that I am trying to make it to. By the way, this whole fire-breathing situation is certainly of interest to me. Even though I'm a raccoon dragon, I'm not from a lineage of fire breathers. I cannot breathe fire. So, being able to breathe fire anytime I dang want in this game, definitely relevant to my interests. Alright, right there is our destination. Ow. Let's get rid of this guy. Okay, he's gone. What do we have in here? We got treasure, lots of money, 83, 88, 90. That's each. Now I'm up to almost 1,000 coins. And here is a nurse. I don't like the size of that needle, but sure, for 20 coins, go ahead and heal me. This might burn a little. Well, I just walked through lava, so maybe not. Always a pleasure. Please get hurt and come back soon. Well, at least this nurse is honest. I'm looking at you, Nurse Joy. Hope to see you again, my eye. And then we got a shop which is selling dragon mail. Scaly and immune to lava. Yep, that sounds good. So, by the way, when you buy equipment, it is automatically equipped. Now, with that in mind, not every equipment is good for every transformation, so you'll want to kind of pay attention to what each of the stat buffs are going to be. In this case, though, the Dragon Mail is pretty dang nice compared to Mithril Armor, so definitely want that. Now, from here, I immediately get attacked by this guy. Darn. So if I try continuing to the right, I'm gonna find even stronger enemies who can pretty much kill me in one hit. So I'm not doing that. Instead, I'm going to take a little shortcut here, return to title, which will allow us to get back into the game right back at the village. And thankfully, doing this, we still have all the stuff we had before. So that is pretty handy. And from there, we are ready to actually make progress in the direction that we were supposed to be going in the desert. Except, I think at this point, we're going to go ahead and take our first episode break. So, we will be right back. And when we come back, I have a fun little rant that I've been planning. Hopefully, I'm able to not botch it because, oh boy, I have some stuff to say about the Wonder Boy series.